So I've been working with a client for almost a year now, and during this process, we've developed a nice platform solution that integrates with Sage, the accounting software, pretty popular in the UK. Now, because of different business reasons, they wanted to migrate to Xero, another accounting program, very popular in the UK, which comes from New Zealand. And well, we are facing lots of problems, and I wanted to shoot this video to showcase how one could resolve those. I've solved them already in development, and now we are going to go and do it together in production. First, let's take a look at the magnitude of the problem. So we have this master data over here with all the such tax codes that are used in different entities, and they are 23 right now, and they need to be merged into these 9 codes that Xero wants into their system. Remember that this Power Platform solution integrates with the accounting software because we do it here, invoice reconciliation and purchase ordering. And well, to look at the magnitude again of the problem is that all these tax codes that need to be migrated are maintaining these at least 4 relationships with orders, plan rentals, accounts, and nominal codes, which is another master data that is intertwining here. So we are going to need to go ahead, merge the records, and do some tweaking with the data so that they point to the correct tax codes, which were previous Sage codes, and now they will be Xero codes.
Hi, I'm Andres and welcome to my channel. Here we dive deep into the world of Microsoft support, platform development and governance. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up to show your support. And if you're looking to develop solutions for your business or need training and support for your technical team, feel free to reach out through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Now let's get started with the video.
All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is back up the data. So just to remember, we have for all these tax codes, we have these 4 entities that are using them. And what we want to do is for each of these entities have and the records that use these tax codes, create a backup inside the entity so that later the business will be able to correct any mistakes that will happen during the migration. Why are we talking about mistakes that will happen? Well, we have 2 options in these scenarios. The way I see them is first, okay, we give the business all the list of records within values that what they have now, and they need to give us the equivalences. If the order has this value, it should have this other new value with the new in the new system. But that's a lot, too time consuming for them. So what we're going to do is they give us a rule of thumb. If this, then that, generally speaking. But then if we find that the um, after the migration, some of them are not exactly correct, then they can just change it manually by looking at the value that we are going to back up. So let's take a look at how we can do this backup in a programmatic manner instead of one by one or via a flow, which is not the way I would do it. Now we are in the development environment, and you see that we already have here the 9 registries instead of those 23, because here we've already done the job. And to illustrate, let's go to one of these records, and we see that this is an order, and here we are using these tax codes in the order. So what we want to do is that this, imagine this is the old value, store it in another column so that we can take a look after the migration. Now, how can we do that? Well, we created here in all of these entities, so the orders, plan rentals, nominal codes, and the other was accounts. We created these column, that's a text column that will hold the old value from the Sage code. And so it's easily recognizable here, Xero migration, all Sage tax code name. After the migration is done, we will delete this field, but for the moment, it will be very useful to see and correct any mistakes. Now, the way to do this in a practical manner is using tools like XrmToolBox, SQL for CDS, this plugin over here, where we are going to apply SQL queries like this one. So we will update the accounts or the orders or all these tables and set this auxiliary column that we created with the column value that we have now with the Sage value. I already executed this in the Spanish version of the video, but we will do together the orders. So I paste it here They go from my notes, and we're going to execute the update for the orders. 634 records, not a lot, but let's click yes to all. And here we go. It was pretty quick. We have here 634 records updated.
Looking for help? We can assist you with consulting, custom development, and training for your development or digital workplace team. Go to my website, fill out the contact form, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
All right, next step is going to be basically do this translation between the old tax codes to the new ones. For that, I've created this view over here where we have to change lots of data. For this 23, some of them will become inactive. We won't delete them. It will be only soft delete, made inactive, and change the tax code, tax description, percentage rate, and you will use this special column over here. So for that, we're going to go here and use the native, the out-of-the-box export to Excel functionality. So we click, and it's going to download an Excel file, which will be what we need to use to change the values. So what do we have in this kind of Excel? So let's enable editing. And it comes, if you take notice here, it comes with lots of Excel. I don't know if it's visual bits behind the scenes, I know what it is, but it's making some text on length, on the type of column, if it's text, number, date, whatever it is. And what we have here is that we have to just take a look and change the columns that are here, these ones over here. The name is not necessary because we have behind the scenes a workflow that's going to change the name based on the tax code over here and the description over here. So what we have to do is translate these tax codes and descriptions with the percentage rate. Until we're going to use this column over here to say, for example, let's pick all the ones that are 0. We have how many? 17 tax codes for 0 percentage rates. What we're going to do is change these values. We don't have as many, so lots of them will become inactive. And from the remaining, we will need to say, okay, what is the one that we're going to use as a default for the migration? And for that, we will use this column where we will put a 1 or a 0. And if it's a 1, it's going to be use this code. If it's 0, don't use this code. And so after some manual changes, what I've done is, let's pick here, see that we have some changes. Let's pick, for example, as we were saying, the 0, 1, we have only 3 that are going to be active. Only 1 is going to be used as default. And then here we have changed the tax codes and tax description according to what the business wants. And you'll see that I also created a new 100%. I don't know what has 100% VAT in the UK, but I don't want to ask too many questions. Now what we must do is basically import using the Excel that we just tweaked, and we have to just to choose the Excel, tax export, hit next, and I won't, well, I will, if you want, you can review the mapping. The mapping is completely okay because we have downloaded the, we have exported and changed the value, so we maintain the same structure. And I won't hit finish import because I already did it in the Spanish version of the video. And what we can see is after we finish import, you will be prompted to track progress, and then you will be redirected here to this page. And if you refresh, submit it, and here is where you have these all the process records and the successes here. If you had any failures or partial failures, you would see them here and you would be able to track what happened. Failures, we don't have any. Success, we have all of them are a success. All right, so this is the result, the end result. And what we have here is that if we go to the inactive ones, we see that plenty, 16 tax codes are inactive. And now we have the brand new, well, change the names, but the records remain, and that's what we want because we're going to change references now, which is the hardest part I found during the whole process, which I needed help from ChatGPT in this case. So now let's try to align the tax codes. So let's take this one for example. If we go to the related one, we'll see that we have plenty of orders related to this particular tax code. But now this one is inactive, and we need to change these records that are pointing to this tax code to the new tax code from Xero. And to do that, I found the way to using this SQL sentence, SQL query over here using SQL for CDS again. So first we're going to preview the changes, and this is what is going to happen. We're going to move from this current tax code to this new tax code over here. Uh, and it's going to depend, of course, depending on uh, each of the orders. And what we're going to do is here send the update, and we won't have as many records in this case. And just hit yes, and here we go. Now if we go back here and we go to orders, we see that no more orders here because we changed, and now they are pointing to the proper um, tax code. So it was hard, but we managed to do it together in production. And well, that's one of the adventures that you'll find when you are working with a solution for quite a long time and you're interacting with different softwares, ERPs, any other enterprise systems. You will need to do these kind of changes along the way. And for that, you need to learn how to work with these tools, especially the SQL ones that allow you to manage large volumes of data without getting crazy using Excel and a Power Automate and these kind of things, because that's pretty powerful using SQL to change the data and do these amendments and alignments. Hope you enjoyed the video and you learn a thing or two. See you in the next one.